Moment I was with one of my really dear friends and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. It was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much and he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone, because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known.
Since Twitch allegedly took his own life 2 years ago, people, and especially Black people, have been on his wife's ass, okay? Now, this is one of my favorite performances from So You Think You Can Dance. I literally watched this show from the beginning, okay? And Twitch was definitely one of my favorites. Now, he was a hip-hop dancer, but the way he was able to literally breathe life into these contemporary pieces, it was masterful. And I believe he did end up winning this season, if I'm not mistaken. But from this point on, like, his star just continued to rise. And he eventually went on to even become a mentor and a judge on the show. Now, the last time I watched this show was maybe the last season or the second to the last season, where Allison became a judge on the show along with Max and Comfort, I believe. And, I wasn't really feeling it then. I don't even think I watched the whole season. I think I got through like the auditions and I stopped watching it. But I just wanted to share this before we jumped into this topic, because, man, if she pissed people off 2 years ago when he died, she is really pissing people off again now that she has written a tell-all book. Now, she has written this book, Allison Holker, boss, under the guise of, understanding mental illness and, blah, blah, blah. But what has the streets talking and what has the Black mamas upset is that she is alleging drug addiction and that she found, some sort of paraphernalia going through his closet ahead of his funeral. Now, why she's speaking about this now, I have no idea. Like, to me, 2 years is not long enough to sit down and write a tell-all. That means you literally started working on this book the minute his casket was closed. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, at the time of his death, remember, people were talking. Like, people really thought that she had something to do with his death. Like, they thought that, she played a part in his death. Now, although it was ruled a suicide, again, people just couldn't believe it. They didn't really buy it. Just because Twitch was always smiling, always happy, always dancing, always laughing. And we know, from the deaths of others like comedian Robin Williams, that sometimes that is, they put on a happy face when internally they are battling. So, again, no one really knows what this man was going through. So, for her to just come out and start spilling all this tea, man, the aunties are upset. Now, his mother released a statement. She is hurt. She is upset. She says she's tired of remaining quiet, while this has been going on for the last 2 years, and she just had to speak out. Also, one of his cousins said, yeah, I don't give a fuck about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and his actual family sign an NDA just to even attend the funeral. She's been trying to tarnish his legacy and refuses to let the Boss family see the children. So, yeah, we knew something was going on. Like, it just did not feel right at the time. And I remember when his death was announced, I was literally in the comment section of every post, just going through it, seeing what people had to say, seeing if there were any signs. and everybody was talking about her behavior and how sketchy she seemed. Like immediately, she started closing in, closing the ranks. And of course, we know when stuff like this happens, it's always about the money. Now, if you all remember a few years ago when Twitch was the DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Ellen loved music. She loved to dance. I believe she was even a judge for a season on So You Think You Can Dance. And that's probably how her and Twitch connected. Although he was on her show a few times, just, doing dance routines and teaching her to dance and stuff too. This is him with his son, bringing him out, showing him dancing, which he has no rhythm at all, but he's a kid. So anyway, um, apparently since all this, turmoil has been kicked up, it caused his stepdaughter, Wesley, to add her 2 cents and try to defend her mother. And again, the aunties are not having it. They're like, first of all, you need to stay in a child's place. Second of all, you don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm about to insert a clip.
These are all people that I've grown up with. And to see them now act different for social media, it's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Steven's moms. Like my mom and her were speaking weekly at some point. And I don't know if it's still like that. Like me and my mom haven't talked about it, but since Steven died, I feel like I've seen his family more.
Say what now?
The number of times she called this man Steven and referred to his mother as Connie literally had my skin crawling. This is the man who was in her life since she was 3 years old. This is the man who she said out of her own mouth considered her a daughter. This is a man who went to work every day to take care of her and her mom and her brother and sister. This is the man whose back, they're still living off of. My grandmother used to say, you can't squeeze blood from a turnip. And they are literally trying to squeeze every ounce of clout from this man's death. Okay? Writing a tell-all book about this man who committed suicide. It's just disgusting. And again, her level of disrespect, referring to him as Steven, I'm sorry.
She needs her ass beat.
We had an open casket, viewing for Steven. We had a funeral, and then we had a wake. And my mom asked for NDAs to be signed when we were seeing Steven's body. Because God forbid somebody that went to that took a photo of Steven and put it on the internet or, shared it with somebody else. That's the type of things that NDAs are for. It's not so you can never talk about Steven. You can't ever talk about, you grieving him. You can't post about it. That's not what it is. And for all the people saying it, I just feel like you're uneducated.
And God forbid his widow writes a tell-all book and calls him a drug addict. I mean, God forbid that too, right? Seriously. Now, I'm going to give my opinion. I'm not going to say allegedly because, again, this is my opinion only. But I believe that once the Ellen show was coming to an end, if you remember, a lot of her staff started complaining about hostile work environment and how they were being mistreated. And although Steven never, got on board with that, him and Ellen remained close. I think that he knew the money was, about to change. I feel like the house that they lived in, and I believe she still lives there, was way beyond their means. And she didn't work at that time. Like literally, he was busting his back. He was in a few movies. Like I said, he was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance. So he was literally on TikTok dancing for his life. Okay? Wow, she sat around, trying to portray this lifestyle that he knew was coming to an end. And I think it overwhelmed him. Here you are, you have a wife, you have 3 kids, you have mortgage and car payments and insurance and health insurance and all this stuff that you're responsible for. And all your wife wants to do is, dance on TikTok. I think it got too much for him. And if he did take his own life, I think that's why. And I saw somewhere where somebody was saying something about mushrooms. Like, I don't know if the daughter spoke about marijuana. So we're going to say, so what if he was smoking some weed? Like, first of all, that is not anything, and definitely not anything for you to be writing in a book. You could tell she literally had nothing to write about. She literally had nothing to write about and is literally trying to make money off of that man's death still so that she could stay in that house. And let's not forget, she has a new man, okay? A new white man in her life. And now the daughter, if you go back and see some of the old videos, I don't know if they're still there, and the aesthetic that the daughter had, it was very much given biracial. Okay, now I believe her father is maybe Hispanic or something, but it was definitely trying to give, black biracial girl. And if you see the way Allison used to dress, it was always jeans, it was always Jordans, and trying to give that little hip hop appeal. And go look at how she's, looking now that her aesthetic has changed, now that her life has changed, now that her man has changed. Like, anyway, that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I think it's very tasteless, and I hope she does not sell not one copy.